Okay, guys, we're here and I want to talk to you about something. So, domestic violence is never okay. Domestic Violence Awareness Month is coming up. If anybody is gaslighting you, if they are controlling you, if they are talking shit to you, if they are basically, I can do what I want, fuck you, and they don't allow you to leave, they exercise extreme control over you, that's domestic violence. It doesn't always have to be hitting and kicking and bruises and stitches and things like that. It can absolutely 110% be psychological. And that's the downfall with domestic violence, is convincing law enforcement that the unphysical part is actually happening. If they're mean to an animal, that's a major red flag. That's a major cue. You gotta go. So one thing I do want to point out is, if you have somebody who's mean to animals, who keeps you on a short leash, doesn't let you leave, won't let you go anywhere by yourself, constantly criticizing you, you're in a domestic violence relationship and you need to get out. And it's never acceptable for people to act like that. It is never acceptable for people to basically act like you don't exist, or it's okay to mistreat you. I left the father of my children when I was pregnant with my second one because of domestic violence. And he even tried to get violent with me during my pregnancy with my second one. So, if I can leave the father of my children, you can leave. You know, it might take a little more gumption. It might take a little more of a shove, push, kick, whatever out the door, but you can do it. You want to have a safe plan. You want to have a safe place to go where they're not going to find you. You want to have a no contact order ready to go. Document the hell out of everything. Call law enforcement, even if they try to make sure that you can't have access to money, or if you can't leave without their permission or anything like that. You have to push forward with that stuff, okay? They need that information. The courts need that information. So yeah, we need to do that. The other downfall is if they get physically violent with you, call the cops. Do not drop the charges. I had a roommate years ago, and her boyfriend lived with us. I had spent the entire day cleaning the apartment. I had gone out of my way to make sure it looked spectacular. It looked nice. I pulled the furniture out. I scrubbed the walls. I vacuumed. I carpet cleaned. I did the whole 9 yards. I did it all. And he came back home. First thing he did was push the furniture back up against the walls, and it had that flat paint on it, so it scuffed really easy. And when I got in his face about it and I told him what he did was unacceptable, he grabbed me by the neck, picked me up above the thermostat, and smashed my head into the thermostat, and then he punched me right here. I had bruising from right here all the way up for several weeks. I ended up going to the emergency room. I had 2 fractures in my jaw, and I ended up pressing charges. I pressed charges because I didn't want my roommate to get hit. I didn't want her to be a punching bag. I wanted her to understand that she had a choice and she could say no. She could say, you know what, we're done. You hit my friend, we're out. She took his side. That pisses me off. Even to this day, they live in another state, and I won't talk to her. She picked him over me. And I can't tell you how much that angers me that he did that. And she picked him over me. Her mother begged me to drop the charges so that way they could move to Texas, and I refused. I said, nope. He hit me, he'll hit her. I don't even know if he's hit her since then because I don't talk to her, but I'm pretty sure he has. Things like that really irritate me. So we want to make sure that people stay safe. If your partner or your spouse grabs your arm or your hand in a way that leaves a mark and they aren't apologetic, they keep doing it, that's domestic violence. Now, here's the kicker. Most people assume, and keyword is assume, that domestic violence is between a man and a woman. For the most part, it is somewhat true. However, men are less likely to report a domestic violence incident because they are so afraid it will hurt their fragile male ego and their image that they won't report it to law enforcement. However, same-sex couples are the same way. If you have two men in a relationship and one of them is domestically violent towards the other, the victim is 100 times less likely to report the incident to law enforcement because they are afraid to leave, because they are LGBTQ, because they are afraid that they won't have anywhere to go. So, same with same-sex female couples. You will have the butch male person, you will have the extra feminine person, and the feminine person is usually the victim, and they are less likely to report the domestic violence because it is a same-sex woman-woman relationship, and they don't want to cause problems. They just want the domestic violence to end, but it's not going to end unless you call law enforcement and put somebody in jail. I've done 37 days between 2 counties, and it's ridiculous. So it sucks. But once you're in there, you have to go through all the court system and the judge and everything to get let out. So that's on them. So, but we need to prevent, and we need to stop, so that way we can get domestic violence under control. Right now, out of 10 women, 6 to 7 of them are seeing domestic violence at home. It used to be 1 out of 4. They're not taking into account the ones that are not being reported. So, but we need to check on our friends. We need to check on our family. What we need to do is we need to say, okay, if there's parts of this relationship you don't like, you need to tell me about it. We can make a difference. We can take care of this. We can do this, that, or the other. We can get this taken care of. That's what we need to do. So, at the end of the day, even if you have to call your parents, I called my parents several times. My kids' dad picked me up by my neck in 2017 and threw me from a wooden deck to a concrete patio, landed on my back. He stepped on my breastbone and he fractured it like this. He ended up breaking 4 ribs on my right side and 3 on my left. I couldn't even get him to call an ambulance for me. I ended up calling my own ambulance, and I couldn't even get them to get there on time. So I put my daughter in my car, went to the hospital myself, and was admitted because he broke my ribs. He broke my ribs. So that tells you what I was willing to do. And I had a 4-year-old. Well, my daughter was 4 at the time. And yeah. And if I had not left him when I did, I probably wouldn't be here right now. So, this is the same guy I left in December of 18. So let's get this domestic violence under control. Thank you.